Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who rule well. Peace and love, salutations, and mercy be unto you hopeful elect. You Akim and few Aguathium that believe in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai with your whole heart, mind, body, and spirit, and who are waiting for these last and final prophecies to unfold and happen in the earth, and the return of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai. Military suicides jumped by alarming 15%. Pentagon downplays pandemic impact. You know, a lot of these military personnel, you know, are taking their lives. You know, they're overwhelmed. They're overworked. You know, and it's leading to, you know, them wanting to take their lives. You know, you go back to, you know, the war on terror, you know, within Afghanistan, Salakia. You know, and all of the different things that, you know, these veterans, you know, these military men and women, you know, seen and experience. All right, things that are traumatic. All right, the things that they had to do, the things that they witnessed. All right, and carrying that back with them from the war, you know, it's like they never even left the war. You know, mentally they're still there. You know, and it was too much for them. And what they experienced in regards of seeing and doing is nothing in comparison to, you know, what was seen during the days of World War I, which when the scriptures speak about World War I, it says in Revelation 9:6, in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. All right, they were having their jaws blown off, you know, different parts of their extremities blown off, and still being alive, you know, having to deal with what is known today as post-traumatic stress disorder, but back then it was known as shell shock. When you look up the word shell shock, you know, going to Wikipedia, it says shell shock is the term coined in World War I by British psychologist Charles Samuel Myers to describe the type of post-traumatic stress disorder many soldiers were afflicted with during the war, before PTSD was termed. It is a reaction to the intensity of the bombardment and fighting that produce a helplessness appearing variously as panic and being scared, flight, or an inability to reason, sleep, walk, or talk. You know, so you had individuals, you know, who were becoming so frightened and terrified, petrified by the things that they were witnessing during this war. You know, this was the first time that gas-propelled rockets were ever used within battle. You know, so initially they thought that the shell shock was coming from the explosions, and hence the name of shell shock. But later on, they understood and knew that this came from the fear that was upon the individuals that were fighting within these different wars. You know, and that's the reason why later on they developed these particular tests, you know, for individuals to go through, all right, like an assessment test, you know, to not only build you up physically, all right, but to build you up mentally. But still, that's not enough. And that's the reason why, until this day, you know, people are developing what is known as PTSD, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, and there's different ways that individuals can develop PTSD. You don't just have to go to war to develop PTSD. You just have to experience something that's frightening, you know, something that's traumatizing. All right. And PTSD can get so severe to the point where you can't walk, you can't talk, your brain shuts down. You know, it gets so bad to the point where your brain stops you from being able to see, from being able to hear. All right. And that's his way of coping with the level of trauma that has come upon it. But sometimes, that it doesn't happen in that regard. So because a person is dealing with so much stress, they're willing to take their own lives. All right, this is an article from Zero Hedge, and it reads, "It's been no secret that 2 decades of largely failed war on terror started under the Bush administration has led to increased suicides and rates of depression among the U.S. military veterans. And the U.S. government doesn't give a shit, about its military. It doesn't give a shit about you. Once it uses you, you're nothing to them but a GI. And a GI stands for galvanized iron. You're expendable. All right. They believe that they could just take you and replace you with someone else. All right. Ultimately, the U.S. Army, is used as a weapon, as a tool, to acquire or help to acquire, goods and resources for the rich elites that are running the world. Ultimately, that's what it's used for. This situation when they went into, the Middle East was only so that they can grab up, the resources, the goods and things that are over there, and ultimately to gain more control. Strategically, they were placed close to by one of their, enemies. All right, on each side, you have on one side they're in Afghanistan, and on the other side they're in Iraq. So they're basically, in a sense, are on both sides of Iran. So there was a reason that they were over there. There's a reason that their presence is in that region. All right, it's not because they're trying to develop the country. It's not because they care about the people of the country. Because if they did care, then ultimately why, would they use so many, drone attacks, and killing multiple civilians? All right, ultimately there's a bigger agenda that is at play. And not only do they not care about the people that live in that region, they don't care about their soldiers, all right, that went over there to fight for them, basically putting them under enchantment, under a spell, got them feeling excessively patriotic, all right, ready to die for this country, but they don't give a damn about them, because ultimately, if they really gave a shit, then they would take better care of their soldiers when they come home. Hey, the scriptures say in the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, the 26th chapter, verse 28, "There be 2 things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry, a man of war that suffereth poverty, and a man of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin, and Yahweh prepareth such an one for the sword." So one of the aspects of the things that grieve, the heart of the author that wrote this, was the fact that men of war suffer poverty. Here it is, you went and you put your life on the line for a country that doesn't treat you with the necessary respect that you deserve. They don't take care of you. They don't give you the mental help that you need, the therapeutic help that you need, all right, to deal with your post-traumatic stress disorder from the fearful things that you've seen, all right, within these wars. And then oftentimes, these people become impoverished, all right, and those things mixed together drives them to commit suicide. It says new data released by the Defense Department Thursday reveals military suicides have increased by a hugely alarming 15% from last year. All right, Army and Marine Corps leaderships, including Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, is calling it trouble. The Associated Press reports prompting top brass to call for action and greater intervention. Most deaths among the major branches occurred in the Army and Marine Corps, with 580 suicides from both, a number up from 504 the year before. Navy suicides actually barely dropped from 81 to 79. And the total Air Force suicides saw no change at 109 deaths. So here it is. These people can't deal with the trauma, all right, the traumatic things that they're seeing, all right, and doing, which is causing them to want to die, all right, want to take their lives. You know, but the things that are going on now is nothing in comparison to the things that are getting ready to happen. You know, the scripture says in the book of Jeremiah 51 and 30, and this is going to be read in the New Living Translations. It says, her mightiest warriors no longer fight. They stay in their barracks, their courage gone. They have become like women. The invaders have burned the houses and broken down the city gates. See, you think that you're afraid or experienced something traumatizing within these last couple of wars that America has been in, but nothing is going to be like World War III. All right. World War III is going to make World War I look like Disneyland. All right. That's how bad this war is going to be. All right. This war in the scriptures is part of the day of the Lord. All right. See, things are about to get bad, and they're going to get so bad that the mighty men are going to cry bitterly. And it tells you in the book of Zephaniah 1 and 14, it says, the great day of Yahweh is near, it is near, and hasteneth greatly. Even the voice of the day of Yahweh, the mighty men shall cry there bitterly. And what does it mean to cry? All right, of course we know what it means to cry. Of course we know what it means to cry. It means to lament. All right, they're going to be crying from the fear. So cry, all right, to shed a tear, typically as an expression of distress, pain, or sorrow, post-traumatic stress. All right, to shout or scream, typically for express fear, pain, or grief. And that's the reason why it says that they're going to become like women. So you think that they're not going to want to die in that day? All right, they're going to want to die. And guess what? Things are going to happen to them that are traumatizing. All right, they're going to get shot. They're going to get blown up. But the Lord is going to keep their spirits inside of their body for that great judgment that's coming. All right, as you can see, there's an increase, all right, in suicides among the military. All right, and just imagine, they're getting ready to draft women. They're about to implement a draft of men and women. And these people ain't ready for war. And even the people that so-called train for war ain't ready for war. All right, the things that you got to see, the things that you got to experience, the things that you have seen and experienced according to war, it ain't prepped you for what's getting ready to come. The book of Isaiah, the 9th chapter, verse 5, it says, for every battle of the warrior is fought with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Now, even when the battles were fought with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, it still took a strong mind to be able to deal with war. All right, with war on this level. All right, seeing bloodshed, seeing limbs getting torn off, seeing people being devoured. All right, though that took a mental fortitude. All right, and that's the conventional war. That's the way that war is conventionally fought. The word conventional means based on or accordance with what is generally done or believed. But now this war, all right, is going to be on another level. All right, because the way that ancient wars were fought, they were fought with swords, all right, and bloody garments from people being stabbed and cut. But war advanced, to the point of what war is now. But now war is about to be taken to a whole nother level because we're living in the nuclear age. So people ain't ready. All right, these soldiers ain't ready or prepared for what they're getting ready to see. All right, remember, as it states within the book of 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, verse 29, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, one realm against another. So there's about to be a world war. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I shewed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man descending. And when all people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. So there's about to be a great world war. And individuals are going to take up to fight against each other. All right, and then Yahushua is going to come and they're going to turn and try to fight Yahushua. All right, but what's going to be the result of that? What's going to be the end result of that? Well, of course, we know that the thermonuclear missiles are going to be shot off, but there's going to be a lot of slaying and killing of individuals within that region, in so much to the point where that region is going to be filled with dead bodies, just laying out everywhere. And in the book of Ezekiel 39:13, it says, yeah, all the people of the land shall bury them. See, look, let me go up to verse 12. It says, in 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. Yet all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown to the day that I shall be glorified, saith Yahweh. And they shall sever out men of continual employment passing through the land, to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any seeth man's bones, all right, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamona. Thus shall they cleanse the land. So these people that are going to be burying, the bodies are going to be the other nations. But there's going to be so many dead bodies that are killed and destroyed, people that are destroyed over in this war. And this reminds me of a movie called Tomorrow War, which there was a war in the future, and they were going back to the past to draft individuals to war. So they were drafting mothers, they were drafting fathers, they were drafting sons, they were drafting daughters, and they were sending all of these people to fight in this war that they could never win. So that's what's going to happen when you get drawn into World War III, but eventually have to turn and fight against Yahushua. See, a lot of you are going to want to seek death, but you ain't going to get it. You're going to have some horrific things done unto you, and your soul is still going to be inside of your body until Yahushua decides to take it away. And ultimately, this is going to be done as a form of judgment upon individuals. So as you can see, there's an increase, all right, in the deaths or suicides of military personnel. All right, ultimately because they're overworked, they're stressed out. All right, they come home, they suffer poverty, on top of dealing with, the things that they had to see within war, the things that they had to do. All right, a lot of them find it hard to adjust all right, to readjust to regular life, and it becomes too much for them to the point where they find it easier to just end their life. So this is definitely, something that was interesting, but this is scriptural too. So with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, shalom.